Hi everyone, my name is Lindsay Kravit, and so I posted in the group and I got an overwhelming number of responses. I expected to get a lot, but not that many. Oh my gosh, I must have gotten like 100 DMs, and so I'm really glad all of you are interested in this, and definitely it's something to be excited about. So today when I made that post, I was sitting in the doctor's office waiting for my mom, so I couldn't give everyone all the information at that time. However, I wrote a nice little outline here that I'll be referencing to answer some of the questions that were frequently asked. Okay, first, my story. My story was so I have a teaching license. I taught in South Korea for 5 years, and when I left, I got my master's degree. I wanted to become a study abroad developer. I wanted to design and develop study abroad programs, but when I went to grad school to do that, what I found out was that most of those jobs were working at universities out in the middle of nowhere, and I'm a city gal from Miami and New York, and I just was not interested in living out in the middle of nowhere. Nothing wrong with that. No shade on anyone who is from rural America, but I just didn't really want to do that. I lived in Seoul for 4 years as well, so yeah, I'm like big city girl. So then I led some study abroad programs in the summers. I had the opportunity to do that, and that was great, but they weren't full-time positions. So I thought, okay, well, I'm not going to go into the field of study abroad or international higher education. So I also had a teaching license that I got in South Korea. And then I went back to, not back to Korea, sorry, I didn't go back to Korea. I went to Thailand and I worked at an international school there, teaching eighth grade social studies and doing some project management. I had a lot of project management experience from my master's. I also had adult training experience from my master's. I took a class called um, Training Design for Experiential Learning, and that really helped prepare me for some of the stuff that I am doing now with instructional design, the theory of adult learning principles and how adult training facilitation and stuff like that. Okay, but I'll get into that later. So, all right. So then I taught at this international school in Thailand, and I love Thailand and I had a great time, but I was really not happy. So I decided at that point to go into instructional design, which I left out a big part of this story. I found when I was a VIP kid teacher after I graduated from my master's in 2017. I That's when I was a VIP kid teacher traveling the world. So I was living in Istanbul at that time, traveling around Europe and having this great remote lifestyle. And that's when I was active mostly in this group, VIP kid teachers who travel. I might end up posting this in another group, so disregard my references to that. But anyway, this is the group that I initially made this video for. So at that time, I loved my lifestyle of traveling and living nomadically, but I didn't like all the hustling that came with VIP Kid, having to wake up at weird hours if I was in Eastern time to teach, even if I wasn't in Eastern time, just missing out on, things that my friends were doing on Saturdays because I had to work because Saturdays and Sundays are the peak hours, stuff like that. So I knew I liked the lifestyle, but I just didn't want to teach anymore. And I didn't want to have to do online teaching. And then when I went, so I started looking into different ways to work remotely. I think I started searching curriculum development remote. And I found a great job with the School of the New York Times, and I was the curriculum project manager. I worked with subject matter experts to develop SMEs, as we say, in this realm of instructional design and curriculum development. I worked with them to develop programs for the summer of 2018. It was like high school programs for students who were going to New York and doing these, yeah, like topical thematic programs for the summer. That was really great, but it was only contract. I only did it for a few months. But then all the other jobs in the description of remote curriculum development were called instructional design. And I saw that they were all really, really, really high salaries, like 70 to 100,000 a year. And I thought, wow, what is this? I already have a lot of these skills that I was seeing posted. So I did some research and I found this group called Freedom in Remote Instructional Design and E-Learning Development on Facebook. At the time, it wasn't really a big group. So I was a little bit skeptical because the group can seem a little bit like not scammy, but like become an instructional designer and make 100,000 in a few months. And I was like, okay, I don't know about this. So anyway, I just joined the group and I stayed in there for a while. And when I went to Thailand, as I told you before, sorry, this story is kind of getting mixed up, but so then in 2000, that was my VIP kid traveling journey was 2017 to 2019. In 2019, in August, I went to Thailand and I started a master's in instructional design from Florida State University, which is my alma mater. I'm sorry about this weird lighting here. Anyway, so I don't know what's going on with this. Okay, so that's better. I started a master's in instructional design with Florida State University. Why did I do that? Because I was under the assumption that getting a master's was the way to go if you want to change careers. However, I already had a master's in international education, so I didn't really consider that. I just thought, oh, I'll just get a second master's. I trust my alma mater institution, FSU, and this is the way to go. But what I found out, and I did that while I was working at this international school in Thailand. What happened when I was working at this school in Thailand was I started to get really burnt out of teaching. It was really hard. I just basically didn't like it and I knew I didn't want to teach anymore. But I was so stressed. I was working between 50 and 60 hours a week with no protection from the environment, from the toxic pollution that's in Bangkok and the heat. We didn't have air conditioning or air filters or anything like that. And I just got really exhausted. I had no time to do my master's program. So I took a break. I did 3 semesters out of 6. I took a break. I stopped and then I actually ended up moving to Koh Phangan, an island in South. You all know Koh Phangan. You're in the VIP Kid Teachers Who Travel group. But anyway, if you don't know Koh Phangan, it's an island in the southern part of Thailand. I ended up moving there after I finished my job in January of this year, 2021, and I re-enrolled in the FSU program. And what I realized was it was just such a waste of time, and no shade on FSU. I respect you. It just, for me, it was a waste of time because I had already done a master's in education and everything I was learning was just rehashed. I felt really stressed by the program. I felt like I wasn't really learning anything because what I knew about instructional design was that you need a portfolio. And this program, I had spent 3 semesters already in this program and I had zero material for my portfolio. Also, it was focusing mostly on higher education and K through 12 instructional design, and I knew from my research that I wanted to go into corporate instructional design, which paid a lot more money, and it does. Corporate instructional design pays a lot more money than instructional design in higher ed and K through 12. So that is kind of what I was aiming for, and my master's in instructional design from Florida State was not bringing me to this goal. So what did I do? I went into that freedom group that I had joined a while ago and thought was kind of scammy. And I posted there and I said, look, I'm in this situation. I don't think that this master's is helping me. Right away, Jill Davidian, who is the CEO of Learning Strategy and Design, this company that has this group, she posted and she said, let's set up a consultation. I can help you. And right away, I set up a consultation with her, and she was so sweet and she was so helpful. And she said, you're not alone. This is really common. The master's programs, they don't set you up for success in this field because they're all theoretical. If you've never had a master's before, sure, learn the theory, get the master's, that's fine. But you already have a master's, so you don't need this. You need a portfolio. And then she said, what my program does is it does this in A, B, and C to help you build your portfolio, creates a network. I can be a reference for you. I give contract work sometimes. I post in the group, and she went through all of it, and it sounded really great. And she told me the price, and it was $5,000, which is very, very insignificant compared to what you pay for a master's. So I thought, and there's monthly plan of 600 a month. So I thought, you know what do I have to lose? And I looked at all these other testimonials in the group and looked at all their portfolios, and they all looked really great. So I paid right then and there, and I did it. And that was the single most important decision that I made, maybe in my life, and definitely in my instructional design journey. Because after that, I joined the group. I dropped out of my master's program, and within a few months, I had a portfolio. And I met so many great people in this group. And I'll talk more about what the program is called Applied Instructional Design Academy, AIDA. So I'll talk more about AIDA later and everything that AIDA helped me with and what AIDA can help you with and what AIDA does and why I recommend AIDA. Okay, so what is instructional design? So I'll talk about AIDA after this. Okay, so my next point is what is instructional design? Instructional design is developing training materials for to help people learn. So if you're a teacher or you've done training or facilitation or even graphic design, any kind of design work, you already have a leg up because that's what it is. It is not teaching, so you do not need a teaching background. I repeat, you do not need a teaching background. Um, like if you're a VIP kid teacher, but you just like don't have a master's in education or a bachelor's in education, that's fine. Nothing to do with that. You don't need it. You don't even need a master's degree. You just need a bachelor's in something. That's all. Just like VIP kid, you just need a bachelor's in something. The rest can be learned. And so there's instructional design for corporations and for K through 12 and higher ed, as I mentioned. For corporations, you would be working on the learning and development team to develop trainings for the corporate employees. So that's what I'll be doing with a global IT company called Black Box. Okay, so that's instructional design. If you have any other questions about what that is, you can ask me or you can Google it. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry. So even if every single one of you who made that, who contacted me or posted in the thread, transition, you would all be able to find jobs because I mean, I got offers from like five different, I've only been looking for jobs for a month and I already got like four or five offers. But I just took the one that came first and that I thought sounded best. So don't worry about there being competition. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry and growing more and more and more every day. Everybody needs trainers, right? If the corporations and businesses, they just keep growing and growing and growing. So there's a huge demand. So don't think that, oh, it's an oversaturated market. It's not. Okay, how to transition. So I talked a bit about my transition. If I had just kept going in that master's program, I would have never gotten to where I am right now. So I really don't recommend a master's in instructional design unless you just don't have a master's and just want to get one because you want to be qualified, you want to have a leg up, but you don't need a master's. AIDA, Applied Instructional Design Academy, which I will include the link to that Freedom group, that is the free group. And then once you decide to join, then they switch you to the program group. But you can get free workshops and resources in that group. So I'll put the link below to that. I'll also put my referral link to AIDA. If you do decide to join after checking out that free group, I'll put that below as well. So I decided AIDA was the right way to go. AIDA helped me design my portfolio. And that's what's, I also include my portfolio below. My portfolio has storyline samples. Articulate storyline is what you'll learn how to use and work with. It's kind of like PowerPoint on steroids. You can make interesting interactions with it. You can do everything PowerPoint does, but it's more interactive and interesting, basically. And it's very fun to learn. You can also learn how to use Articulate Rise, which is another articulate product. Like Storyline is one product and Rise is another. There's lots and lots of e-learning tools that you can learn how to use in AIDA. Jill, the CEO of the company, of the program, who developed the program, she knows very well. She's been in the industry for many, many, many years, so she knows exactly how to help you build a portfolio, what corporations are looking for, what the gap is needed. What I got commented a lot on was and I have ADHD and I am not a detail oriented person, but I got comments on how detail oriented my work was because Jill and her team are so great about picking out all the little details in your work and making it look really sleek. And she really knows what they're looking for and what they want. I also got comments on how creative and innovative and unique my portfolio was. There's other programs, I'm not going to name names, but I'm not a huge fan of it because even though it's cheaper, when you look at the portfolios coming out of the other groups, I'm not trashing other groups. If that's what people need and want, then I go ahead. There's different master's programs, there's different instructional design programs as well. But the reason I like AIDA compared to other groups is that even though it's a bit more expensive, the quality of the training that you get and the product that you deliver is so much higher than what I'm seeing coming out of the other groups that just look kind of like they were thrown together without much training or knowledge about e-learning and instructional design. Just looks kind of like someone wanted to learn the tool and just made something in the tool really fast. So AIDA actually makes you look professional. And yeah, that's what you need. Okay, so I already answered, do you need a master's or what background do you need? You don't need a master's. You don't need any specific background in education or learning development. As long as you have a bachelor's in something, then you're good to go. Um, so what do you need to do to transition? You can transition on your own. I know people who have, but I am a person who needs guidance and support and network, and that's why I paid for AIDA. And I got that, and that's how I was able to transition. So if you want to check out AIDA, again, I have the links below to everything that you need. And like VIP Kid, of course I get referral, but I want to help people and I want to help myself. You all are in VIP Kid, so you know how it goes with the referral. So I have my referral below, and that would really, really help me. And I'll also be there for you to answer all questions you have about instructional design and help mentor you, of course, if you're my referral. So I answered why AIDA. So if you have any other questions about AIDA, let me know. I love it. I'm a learning developer myself. I've developed so many programs, educational programs, and I've taken so many educational programs, and this one is one of the best, if not the best. It's all asynchronous. So that means that you can take it whenever you want. There's no like class time. You have to be there at a certain time. You have 9 months to complete the program. You can go at your own pace. And there's coaching calls and scheduled events, but they're all recorded. So if you miss it, it's not a big deal. You can go back and you can watch it on your own. I was living in Korea, so that's what I did because I don't want to be up at 4 in the morning watching a coaching call. Um, and you're welcome to bring all your questions and all your work samples to coaching calls. I met great people through AIDA who have become my friends. I'm in an accountability group with two other girls, and we talk every single day. One of my friends who I worked with last year, his name is Ryan. He joined AIDA as well, and he was a VIP Kid teacher too. And he's loving it. And that's another thing. I finished the program I'm almost done. It's taken me like 8 or 9 months because I just did it slowly because I didn't really have like an urgent need to finish it because I was working an ESL job in Korea, which I'm not working anymore, thankfully. But so Ryan wants to get out of teaching ASAP. So like he just started the program a month or two ago, and he's already like more than halfway done. So the pace in which you do it is totally up to you. Some people have finished in like a month or two, and some people they take the whole 8 or 9 months. So it's totally up to you and how you pace yourself. The work is not difficult, it's just work. You just have to learn it and watch the videos and do the samples and get the reviews and all that. Okay, so I hope that answers all your questions. We're at 18 minutes and 30 seconds, so I hope it wasn't too long. Yeah, any other questions after this, feel free to DM me. Yeah, and if you're my referral, then of course I'll answer all the questions that you have and be there and add you on Facebook and mentor you and all that. So don't worry about that. But if you're not my referral, I'll answer as many questions as I can. But please understand, I'm getting so many messages. So I hope I answered everything in this video. And yeah, okay. And my contact information is on my website, so you can find it there and email me. And I hope that answers all your questions. And I hope you have a very wonderful journey into transitioning into instructional design. Okay, thank you. Oh, wait, one more thing. I forgot to answer. So, jobs. How do you find jobs? Okay, well, in the group, it's a network. It's a huge network. So lots of people post jobs. But it's your responsibility to look for jobs, of course. On Indeed, LinkedIn, you can type in remote instructional design and you can see how many job postings there are. LinkedIn is invaluable. The AIDA group helps you make your LinkedIn instructional design friendly, as well as your resume. They help you with all of that. That's part of the program too, in mock interviewing, and they help prepare you to look like an instructional designer so you can land a job. But right now, what you can do if you want is go to Indeed or Glassdoor or LinkedIn or any of those job sites, type in remote instructional design, and you can see how many billions of jobs there are there. All right. I hope that answers everything. Okay, bye bye. Thank you.